All right, let's get more insight on the game last night. And we're joined live by SABC News sports producer Thando Mxoli. A very good afternoon to you, Thando. All right, let me start by making you proud and let you know that I watched the match from beginning to end, Thando. But here's the thing. It looked to me as though both teams came out strong, came out aggressive, came out fighting. What gave Banyana that extra edge yesterday?
Good afternoon, Slow, and good afternoon to your viewers. Firstly, look, it's been a great performance by the ladies. It was the perfect tournament. They did not lose a game. They came up against some really, really tough opposition. Morocco are well organized. They're well coached. They've done well in terms of progressing their football forward. They showed their class yesterday. They gave us problems. But the one thing that Banyana have done well in the tournament, they've had a very stingy defense, and that proves true in the last 10 minutes, which turned out to be 20 minutes at the end. It's been a very disciplined, organized performance by Banyana Banyana, and look, they deserve to be at the summit of African football at the moment.
And then I want to actually talk about that extra time that you mentioned there very quickly, that 9 minutes extra time. It seemed really unusual, and I was on the edge of my seat concerned about that 9 minutes, worried that Morocco would equalize, and then of course they would be pushed indeed to penalties. What is that about? I mean, 9 minutes extra time.
But that's the thing about that final, though. It had literally everything you'd want from a roller coaster. Firstly, the pictures coming through from the stadium, seeing that sea of red, it kind of made you so excited and nervous at the same time. Then we scored the 2 goals, and you're thinking, we got this in the bag. Then Morocco scored that 1 goal 10 minutes before the end of regulation time, and you're thinking, okay, this is a bit edgy. Then they give them another 9 minutes, very generous from the officials, which no one saw where they came from, those 9 minutes. But look, ultimately we held our nerve. There's a lady called Mxoli who's basically done so well, converted from a striker to a defender, and she led the defense really well yesterday. She's done it throughout the tournament, but yesterday the waves of attack, she was the one basically clearing every single dangerous ball that came into our box, and it's really, really a very disciplined performance. We have not dominated and blown teams out of the water, but we've been hard to break down, and also when we've had chances, we've made them count. We didn't have many chances yesterday, but the 2 goals we scored against the run of play, quick organized counter-attack, that's what we're looking for in situations like that, in important matches, in important stages of the tournament as well. So, it was really impressive by the girls, and again, well coached in terms of, you look at how they adapted to the circumstances. When they played against Zambia, for example, Flo, they found a team which played similar to them, and yet they managed to do the right substitutions and also play the right kind of football. It's a really impressive performance by the team.
What does this then say for women's football? And maybe it's something that should be said for women's sport in general in South Africa. You know, women have always been on the back foot, whether it comes to sponsorships, whether it comes to, financial gain, the kind of money that they receive after winning a tournament. Does this then, will this change anything? Because Banyana have been performing well for a long time, much better than their male counterparts, if I may add. But, when we look at, their finances, I don't think it's the same or on equal footing as Bafana. Will this perhaps, and rightly so, change things for the ladies?
The change is coming, slowly but surely. First, this Banyana team is going to be well rewarded for their efforts. They were promised a bonus of about 400,000 plus each. So that's a start. They'll obviously get a share of the prize money. They'll get handsomely rewarded for this one. But also, if you look at the money that's been invested in women's soccer by Hollywood bets, in terms of the national teams and the leagues, there is a change. Yes, the players at Hollywood Bets are not getting salaries at the moment, but there's money to keep the league going, and then that will attract more people and sponsors into women's football. SABC has played its part in terms of broadcasting Hollywood Bets whenever there are matches available. So there is an interest to move the game forward. There is an interest to have the right structures. You look at a country like Morocco, for example. They struggled to qualify for a tournament like this in the past. I think this is the second time in an African Cup of Nations. But the money invested has seen them basically build structures at an under 17 level, and basically the top players are playing in Europe, and a lot of the local leagues are strong enough to produce the kind of quality that you've seen in this tournament.
Yeah.
So when you invest in the right areas, definitely, we've seen how the model can work. With us, for example, I think half of this team was part of the under-17 team that St. took to the under-17 World Cup in 2018. And even an under-20 team also went to the World Cup. So we've got generations of players who have played in the big tournament, and that's through systems that SABC have created. They've taken the elite players and they've put them in the high-performance center in Pretoria. And that is basically reaping the rewards of that now. Yeah. It's been about 8 to 10 years in the making, but that's how long it takes to get the systems in order. That's how long it takes to get the right players playing and in the right condition.
Thando, I want to talk about leadership style, and I'll talk about Refilwe Jane being the captain of Banyana Banyana, as well as Desiree Ellis, of course, being the coach. It seems like that was a match made in heaven. Refilwe Jane really looking to me like a very calm person. At no point did she look rattled, and I suppose that then goes down and trickles down to the rest of the team. The team didn't at any point look rattled in this tournament. Let's talk to the leadership within Banyana Banyana, and how important it is really to have that strong sense of leadership in a team like that.
So if you saw at the end, there were 3 players holding that trophy. You had Refilwe Jane, you had Andile Dlamini, you had Janine van Beek. Those are 3 generations of players. Janine started in 2006-07 playing for the national team. Also, you got people like Abonoku. The team has got a leadership group which have been there for a long time. They understand the good and the bad of women's football. They've seen the worst kind of football, and they've seen the transformation of women's football in this country. Refilwe Jane is the leader of the new generation. She started with Andile Dlamini. I think Refilwe was a teenager in 2012 at the Olympics, and she's seen how successful teams have transformed. She's seen how successful teams have been made in the past. Whether it's when Vera Power was there, when Desiree took over, they've all been on the same level. They've been reading from the same hymn book, and that is the results are coming through. This team has never looked rattled. They were singing this very nice song before the matches, Olo. Valo. That's the spirit of this team. They're so calm in the demeanor. They've got the fire in the belly. They're very competitive, but they're very calm in the heads. They're very calm in the demeanor. They know they're businessman-like in how they go about the game. It's really impressive to see how this leadership group is going forward. Janine played 1 game, for example, in this tournament, but her influence in the dressing room, her influence around those players, she has an important voice in the dressing room, and Coach Desiree has seen those important aspects about leading a successful team. You need those important voices. You need those calming voices in the corner to say, "We've got this. Don't panic. Yeah. Don't worry. Keep it going." And those voices you could actually hear them all the time with this team, and it's been impressive to see from the sidelines and seeing how this team has transformed over the years. It's purely because they've had very good leaders in the team.
I was thinking about the player, I'm forgetting her name, you'll remind me, who actually had a leg injury and had to fly back to South Africa. I saw her, yes, and she was celebrating. I saw a video that she released on social media, and I kept thinking that must be a little bit of a sore point for her, because there was a lot of talk about we've lost our key player, we've lost one of our strongest players, and here they go, they win it without her, and and yes, you were celebrating, but I would have felt a little bit sore about that, not being able to be there and lift the trophy and in on the action and having contributed to that win.
She's one of our top players. Thando basically plays her football out in Spain for Atletico Madrid. This season she'll be going to America to further her trade, which is another strong league. That's another thing about this Banyana team. We've got top players playing in Europe. We've got Mxoli playing in Italy for AC Milan. Thando was playing in Spain. It's things like that. Now, when you compare that to the male counterparts, we don't even have a single player in the English Premiership. We don't have any top players playing in the top leagues in Europe. That's what we're looking for. That's the kind of things that we've lost in the male game, and what has worked for the female game. Our guys, our girls are playing against the best in the world and on a regular basis. They're seeing the top athletes in the world training and performing, and they're learning from how these guys go about their craft. Thando was one of those players that actually troubled Nigeria in that first opening game. Her pace basically made the Nigerian defense look so bad. It almost seemed like they were turning like the Titanic in that first match. But it's those kind of things. You lead when you're on the field and when you're off the field. The Thando has an important role to play for this team, whether it's on and off the field. She has an important voice, an important figure, an energetic figure that is now an African champion that is going to go on to greater and bigger things purely because she's had the right attitude and she's been around the right kind of players in her career. And we, like I said, we've seen the benefits of doing things right. You have the right. It's a team sport. And if the team environment is right, this is the result of those hard yards that you've put in over the years.
All right, Thando, many thanks to you for weighing in there. My colleague, producer here of SABC News Sports, talking to us about the game last night between Banyana Banyana and Morocco. Thando Mxoli there for us.